There is this moment in everybody's life when we simply have to acknowledge the inevitability of things. Everything has to come to an end, whether sooner or later. It's an unavoidable truth. The only course of action available to us is to ensure that the conclusion is met with dignity, which brings me nicely to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's face it, it's coming to an end. Sadly, not with a bang, more like a wet fart. Despite Disney's attempts at rejuvenating the franchise, it stands now as mere husk, a feeble, stumbling and decaying relic of its former status as an unstoppable entertainment juggernaut. What was once considered one of the most influential contemporary cultural phenomena has regrettably devolved into a melancholy, hollow shell compared to its vibrant past of just a few years ago. Box office performances falter, audience enthusiasm for upcoming projects is non-existent, even merchandise struggles to find buyers.
There's a lot of Shang-Chi. Stacks, piles, mountains. Now, here's another brand from Marvel that didn't really sell well, the Eternals. And there's a lot of whatever the hell this toy is. Again, from top to bottom, full pegs, Eternals is right here. Miss Marvel, again, a new Marvel character nobody likes. Here's the queen of the unlikable Marvel character, Captain Marvel, from Avengers Endgame, and there's a lot of her.
The most obvious question is, could it have been avoided? Of course it could.
No way! Yes way!
One of the biggest critical successes was Avengers Endgame, which was released in April 2019. That's not even 5 years from now. Yes, that movie wasn't perfect and had its flaws, but in my opinion it was a good closure for Phase 3, wrapping up most of the storylines and providing a satisfactory send-off for important characters. At that moment, I dare to say, the MCU has reached its peak, but, well, all paths from the top must lead down. Phase 4 started and a quick decline began. The franchise took an almost immediate nosedive. By the way, along with other quite popular IP, but I forgot the name. Phase 5 was just a final nail in the coffin. You know, I just couldn't stop being amazed how quickly Marvel Cinematic Universe has become a complete
sheer hubris.
Let us dive into 6 reasons why the magic of Marvel has gone completely down the drain. Number 1. The scope. Everything had to be another Endgame or bigger. Have you ever noticed how often promotional campaigns these days try to convince us that this next superhero movie will change everything forever?
She's destroying every place I call home and taking powers from us. If I don't fix this, it will be the end of everything.
Ever since Phase 3 concluded, there's been this unhealthy writing ambition to top the stakes, make the threat bigger and bigger, which means surpassing Thanos-level danger, which is not that easy to do considering it took 23 movies to conclude his storyline. Hell, the trailer to the Marvels literally used Endgame scenes as a springboard to attract more viewers, trying to play the nostalgia card.
Oh, hell no!
Yeah, spoiler alert, it didn't work. And the movie flopped spectacularly. Who could have thunk it?
Everyone!
It's like the writers don't believe the fans, I mean what's left of them, can get invested in stories covering personal struggles and local conflicts.
Do I look like an idiot?
So they go big. at all costs, forgetting why productions like Netflix Daredevil or both Deadpool movies were so successful. Right now, every major villain has to be shown as more powerful than Thanos. Every movie has to show heroes preventing the destruction of the entire country, planet, universe, or even multiverse. Stakes have to exponentially and continuously rise and shoot through the roof. It's baffling how those people don't understand the genre. This is not what always is expected of superheroes. Do you remember how many personal scale movies led to Phase 1 finale in Avengers? 5! And none of these stories had any world-ending threat in them. Why? Because those were character-centric stories, focused on human nature, strengths and weaknesses, uncovering individual origins. For some reason, writers back then understood perfectly that you cannot have a giant, monumental experience in every movie. Those should be rare and left for special occasions. There has to be a significant build-up, otherwise the formula will get boring and repetitive extremely quickly, which is exactly what happened to MCU, and it's the reason why people are so sick and tired of another eye-rolling "new danger bigger than everything ever faced before" trope nowadays.
Oh, scary! Oh, shiver my timbers! Shut up, man!
Trope that added to the downfall of the genre. And in order to top what has been done before in terms of raising stakes, writers decided to bring in one of the worst possible storytelling devices. Number 2. The Multiverse. The introduction of one of the laziest plot devices in history. Let's not sugarcoat it. The concept of multiverse is a cheat code. The idea of infinite universes existing simultaneously means there is always an easy way for inept writers to reshape and remodel the reality without any actual effort. Alternative timelines and character variants mean the whole story arcs can be twisted, changed, or even immediately forgotten. Let's say Black Widow and Iron Man sacrificed their lives to save the universe, but the studio wants to bring them back due to their constant popularity, aye? Don't you worry, dear audience, those characters can be brought back as variants from the parallel universe anytime.
That's just lazy writing.
And yeah, have you noticed? For some reason, original characters from phases 1, 2 and 3 are still way more popular than their introduced replacement. Who could have thunk it? Well, more on that later. The multiverse trope basically nullifies all the emotional reactions with those characters losing their lives, as now we all know we can see them again, provided their respective actors agree to portray them again and sign those bloated multi-million-dollar contracts. Natasha Romanoff falling down to her demise? Or that tear-jerking scene of Tony Stark passing away, then his emotional funeral which closed the Phase 3?
But that's not important right now.
Exactly. We don't need to despair, because they can reach for any variant of them they want right now.
It's so dumb.
So dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb!
The multiverse makes the stakes low or non-existent, as everyone in the MCU has an unlimited amount of lives, speaking in gaming terms. Yes, one can argue that the same thing has been used in comic books for decades, however, it is a plot device shunned there as well, for exactly the same set of reasons. On top of that, MCU uses the idea as a tool to tease the viewers by introducing more and more meaningless cameos. Everybody remembers Illuminatis from Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but mostly because Patrick Stewart and John Krasinski were brought in to portray characters ripped apart in matter of seconds by Wanda Maximoff turning full villain. Why were they even there, really? The only thing writers managed to achieve with that was proving that they planned to completely disrespect the legacy characters of Reed Richards and Professor X.
Not a great plan.
And they significantly weaken villains as well. Let's just take Kang, one of the most powerful characters in comic books who was brought in MCU to be defeated by Ant-Man of all characters. And then he got his butt kicked in Loki TV series. I have a theory that this is why he was basically brought to the universe, and if not for Jonathan Major's legal trouble, his next variants probably would be defeated again and again in further installments. This variant copy-pasting of characters is the laziest form of storytelling. Not to mention, the audience doesn't really feel intimidated by somebody who constantly keeps getting his ass handed to him. Thanos, by comparison, was a real menace, powerful and fearful. It took 3 phases to defeat him, and it happened only due to magical power of time travel plot hole. Kang, by comparison, is a complete joke, a punching bag for new and diverse female characters. But even that is not the worst problem. Which brings me nicely to number 3. The quantity over quality, overproduction and oversaturation. Instead of carrying out the creative vision of people closely associated with the superhero genre, Disney started feeding us mass-produced pulp. And that is not just my opinion here, even Bob Iger himself admitted to it. Listen to what he says in this interview for CNBC.
We would have liked some of our more recent releases to have performed better. It's reflective, not as a problem from a personnel perspective, but I think in our zeal to basically grow our content significantly to serve our mostly our streaming offerings, we ended up taxing our people way beyond, in terms of their time and their focus, way beyond where they had been. Marvel's a great example of that. They had not been in the TV business at any significant level. Not only did they increase their movie output, but they ended up making a number of television series, and frankly, it diluted focus and attention.
Phases 1, 2 and 3 of MCU contain 23 movies produced in the course of 11 years. That gives us roughly 2 movies per year, which means every new installment was an event to wait for.
I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting.
I'm waiting.
We're waiting, we're waiting, we're waiting.
SpongeBob, what are we waiting for?
This has changed after the Endgame. In the 4th phase alone, we had 7 movies, 8 TV series and 2 holiday specials, all in the course of 2 years. No wonder people were tired of abundance. It also didn't help that to understand everything that was happening in movies, people needed to have access to Disney Plus and follow TV series. And Disney Plus never really gained much popularity despite Disney wanting it to be the next Netflix, which all had to lead to plot holes and confusion.
I'm so confused.
That's, for example, one of the reasons of the failure of the Marvels. 2 main characters were introduced in 2 Disney Plus TV shows not many people even watched, and one, well, you know what Captain Marvel was. Let me put it this way, it wasn't a good movie.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
So the audience had no emotional connection to protagonists, really. Which, by the way, is a common problem of the modern MCU. It's not a surprise, we are drowning in new characters. New superheroes keep getting introduced so fast that it is even hard to keep up with them, especially when we see how bland they are in comparison to Iron Man, Captain America or Black Widow. And so far the company doesn't even try to fix the problem. They just keep churning more and more products. In 2023 and 24, they were going to release 6 new movies and 7 TV series. Well, due to poor audience reception, that probably won't happen, as there are talks about cancelling many things due to budget issues and, well, not even lukewarm audience reception. But, as you can see, their plan was, and to some extent still is, to do more of the same. More of the failure, with the CEO of Disney himself doubling down on this course of action as well, hoping for the miracle that, I don't know, Deadpool will come and save everyone.
I am Marvel Jesus.
After listening to many interviews with Bob Iger, I wouldn't even call him a man with vision. He's a businessman. A salesman, basically. Maybe good at securing deals, but besides that, I didn't hear him talking much about any long-term planning for the franchise. Story-wise, of course. The real reasons why those movies and TV shows turn out to be box office and streaming disasters are different. So let's go to the next one, shall we? Number 4. The Cringe. Jokes, jokes, jokes. Jokes everywhere.
As is tradition, the protectors of our world are bestowed with great peace.
Oh, look at that! Those things are beautiful.
Which you accepted and now must take with you. How beautiful.
Oof. Had enough? Guess what? Thor Love and Thunder lasts for 2 hours. And for those of you who haven't seen it, believe me, jokes don't get much better. And the movie is packed with them to the brim. That got me thinking, Inspired me, you may say, to check, analyze those TV shows and movies. I like nitpicking. That's just kind of guy I am.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
Have you ever noticed how often scenes in modern MCU productions feel like they wandered off a slightly more expensive SNL sketch?
If he asked me to burn the world down, I would have asked him.
Beef or vegetarian? Roll out of the chicken, so I can only offer you beef or vegetarian.
Is that supposed to be funny?
For some reason, showrunners believe that every modern superhero movie must duplicate the character dynamics of Guardians of the Galaxy, turning the whole Marvel universe into a non-stop comedy club.
Someone please tell me, what the fuck happened to the MCU?
This results in huge oversaturation of comedy, because all characters must now be bloody stand-uppers and crack jokes all the time out of fear of being heckled, maybe? We can see that in practically every new installment. Take She-Hulk, for example. The show attempts to be funny so hard that the only thing it proves is total ineptitude of the writers to write anything resembling reality. And apparently it became kinda trendy to show most male characters as villainous, dumb, or ridiculous. Congratulations, Hollywood! You have no freaking idea how guys act when scared, but at least you know how to make a good meme.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Take Thor, one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe, reduced to being a punchline of every joke, a bumbling buffoon.
Oh, you flipped too hard, damn it!
Should we help him? And eventually, grape.
It's like they forgot, or didn't want to remember maybe, that he is a powerhouse and turned his later movies into a cringe-worthy comedy special, which even made Chris Hemsworth sick and tired of portraying the God of Thunder as a big man baby, constantly in need to be saved and or berated by women. Previously, his stories, his character development actually made sense. The only thing we've got right now is... Number 5. The storytelling chaos. A lack of plot coordination and planning. For a good 6 years, we were all gearing up for the epic showdown with Thanos. Remember those post-credit teases, the gradual increase in screen time until he became the big bad of the entire narrative?
I am inevitable.
This allowed the filmmakers to build up anticipation, to prepare the audience and make us feel the seriousness of the situation. However, when Kang was introduced, it seemed like they immediately wanted to have the next endgame, without bothering to properly show us the villain, not understanding how much is needed to build the proper, believable antagonist. Such planning has been non-existent for a couple of years now. Movie events don't spill over into other stories anymore. It looks like there is nobody to coordinate them properly. The attack on Manhattan in 2012 in the first Avengers movie, it was remembered and talked about, even discussed in Netflix Daredevil. That kind of attention to detail is absent now. Hey people, there's a giant celestial in the middle of the ocean. You know, the leftover from the Eternals movie. Nah, don't worry, it'll be fine. It's never seen again, and I think it's mentioned only once, in passing. It seems like every main character right now lives in their own separate universe, separate bubble, and those never overlap. Showrunners seem to be on different wavelengths, which leads to contradictions and plot hole galore. Contrary to Kevin Feige's promises, there is no bigger plan, and it shows. Also, it doesn't help that there is absolutely no originality in the stories. All we keep getting is a bunch of overused tropes, usually revolving around women being great and men being villains or morons. Over and over again, we go through the very same pattern. There is another great new threat that turns out to be not so great, villains get beaten due to their own stupidity, heroes crack couple jokes, rinse and repeat.
You wanna see me do it again?
No. No wonder the audience is not even angry anymore. The reaction to that ever-growing pile of garbage is a pure, overwhelming apathy. And if the recycled stories weren't enough, let's dive a little bit deeper into... Number 6. The Activism. Unlikable characters and forcing...
The message.
Ever wondered what makes a character really likable? Take Tony Stark, for instance. Sure, he's a narcissistic, self-entitled buffoon, at least at the beginning of his story arc, but somehow he managed to win over the audience's hearts. How?
Please, no gang signs. No, throw it up, I'm kidding. Yeah, peace. I love peace. Be out of a job with peace.
Well, by stepping up as a hero and being ready to make the ultimate sacrifice, flaws and all. Because, let's face it, nobody's perfect, even if the writers of strong, independent woman would love to believe otherwise. Bruce Banner, a green menace. Remember when his origins were practically a horror story? A Jekyll and Hyde ordeal where a good guy transforms into a monster. His struggles, pain and even attempts to end his own life made us empathize with him. The Hulk was a ticking time bomb on the verge of descending into madness and turning into a raging beast, at least in the old phases. But wait! In the new phases, a woman swoops in and apparently does it all better, without any of those pesky issues. Victory for feminism!
When incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day, because if I don't, I will get called emotional or difficult, or I might just literally get murdered. So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
It's part of a bigger issue, the constant push to portray women as flawless. Always coming out on top and basically excelling at everything. The only thing holding them back? Of course, the patriarchal society, naturally run by toxic masculinity. Take Captain Marvel, for instance. She can only unleash her true power once she removes the chip blocking her abilities. That was the only thing stopping her from being the best. Fear and jealousy of people around who literally blocked her from being perfect. You can almost imagine the writers giving each other high fives, not realizing the cringe-worthy eye-rolling moment they just penned. Are girl bosses always right because they follow some unspoken code of objective truths, understand the grand scheme of things, and always choose the most ethical and logical path?
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, not really. They are right because the writers decided it's their time to lecture people using superhero movies as a platform, because toxic patriarchy. And that is the reason why, instead of being, I don't know, entertained, we are being preached to. That's pretty much the long and short of it. So let's wrap this up, shall we?
Okay.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, just like Disney at the end of the road. I'm curious what you think. Some of you may consider the reasons given being rather obvious, and guess what? You would be probably right to some extent, but that is due to many people who saw this train wreck coming from a mile away and decided it's time to put a stop to it, to oppose the modern PC madness. Independent outlets, podcasters, YouTubers, we all kept warning Disney ever since the woke craze began, and they didn't listen. Fast forward to today, and it's becoming clear even to them that it's not the right way to do entertainment, but fixing mess this big is like trying to unscramble an egg. It's just not happening. And I wouldn't get my hopes up for that big change, because Disney keeps proving over and over again that for them there is no turning back. Recently cancelled Young Avengers movie with heroes nobody asked for, the nuclear failure of the Marvels, Echo and Secret Invasion, Blade being a secondary character in a female-dominated flick, Fantastic Four with Reed Richards being turned into a toxic wife abuser. All these examples prove that Kevin Feige and Bob Iger have learned nothing from their previous attempts at ruining all possible franchises and will continue going down the same steep path leading straight to rock bottom. At this point, I doubt they even know how to salvage their sinking ship, let alone if they really want to. And now, if you excuse me, I am going to watch Reacher Season 2. I mean, it's not as good as Season 1, but it's still an amazing show, with a strong male lead, great action and interesting plot. So yes, it is possible to get your kicks these days, just not from the House of Mouse.
Who's the asshole?
Shut up.
Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe, drop a like and press the notification bell so you won't miss anything I upload. And if you didn't enjoy this, well, subscribe anyway. At least you will know when there is a new video to actively hate.